Today, Steve travels to eastern Utah to meet up with his good friend, professional houndsman and guide Steve Biggerstaff, to share with all of you the heritage and tradition of hound hunting for mountain lions. This week's episode of Steve's Outdoor Adventures begins now. Steve's Outdoor Adventures is sponsored by Burris Optics, Stormcloth 2 Performance Thermal Outerwear, the new Corbon T DPX ammunition, the new Bresser 360 trail camera, Kershaw knives, CDA muzzle loaders, it's just a better gun, and UDAP Bear pepper spray.
Welcome to this week's episode of Steve's Outdoor Adventures. This week, we're in eastern Utah hunting mountain lions with my good friend, Steve Biggerstaff. But today's show is about a lot more than just chasing a lion up a tree. It's about the dogs and the people who train them. And we're not out hunting on snow. Just about any decent guide out there can get you a lion on the snow. I wanted the total experience. I wanted to come out and hunt a trophy lion on the bare ground with some of the best dogs in the world.
While Steve came out to hunt dry ground, Mother Nature decided to drop a fresh skiff of snow, just to make the first day an easy hunt. And it didn't take long to cut the first lion track.
What they're doing, they're outfitting all the dogs with radio collars this morning. A fresh track and a skiff of snow. Headed up into the rocks here, so get ready to turn out, see what we find.
Here! Yeah! Yes! Here! Sammy! Yes! Here, Jess! Yes!
One of the guys had located a fresh track crossing the road. We got up there. The guides determined that it was a female track. Rather than pass it up, we decided to go ahead and take that opportunity to let the dogs get a little bit of work in and collect a little video. This is where all the dogs and the other guy, Luke, came through. He's 10-15 minutes in front of us. He's in great shape. Anyway, the dogs are just up here. We can hear them baying. They've got the cat at the tree or out on a rock. But the other guy, Dave, he's just right in front of us here, trailing it out. So we got to beat feet up the hill, see what we've got caught. I did not realize that when I got up there that there'd be a dog about 10 feet in the air trying to climb a tree. It's a big female we chased. Way up on the canyon rim up here, and she jumped just as we got there. Right down here in the bottom, they jumped her again, and then we finally got a look at her. You could tell it was a female. Even though it's a big female, we're gonna go ahead and let her go. Beautiful. She's all played out though, no doubt about it. Trying to round up the last of the dogs, and we're gonna go catch up with Steve and the rest of the pack that are on that other trail. So hopefully their track turns out to be a tom. Unfortunately, we ran out of daylight. I'm pretty sure that with another 4 or 5 hours, we probably would have caught up with that lion. But he had a huge track and a long stride, and that's when we named him Catzilla. We all love to go hunting, but let's face it, Most of you don't have a cameraman along or can afford an expensive high-definition video camera. Now, this was the first hunt where I carried the Wild Game Innovations action camera, and I used it every day to film the action from my perspective. Now, these cameras sell for under $200. They're easy to use, and they film in 720i HD. I captured some awesome action that you'll see in today's show and recommend that you look into getting one of these awesome cameras for yourself. Follow Steve's Outdoor Adventures on Facebook and Twitter to keep up with all the latest events and get live updates from the field.
This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures was sponsored by the new Burris Eliminator Laser Scope. Parts of Steve's Outdoor Adventures are filmed on Wild Game Innovations action cameras. Affordable, high-definition hunting video cameras. This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures was sponsored by Bergara Barrels and Rifles. After an action-packed first day, the snow melted off and the ground quickly dried out, making it easier to cruise roads and creek beds looking for lion tracks in the loose soil.
Here's what we're doing. We're gonna load up in a couple of the buggies. We're gonna head up these canyons over here. Real good dusty conditions. If a lion's crossed any of these roads, they're gonna leave a real good print for us. We just gotta cover a bunch of ground. Now it's just a matter of looking for them, turn the dogs loose. We're cruising for tracks real slow in the buggies. The Cougars run back and forth on these dusty roads up and down the arroyos, creek beds. There's traveling this time of year trying to find the deer and elk that they're hunting for. Cover a lot of ground. It's a real exciting way to hunt them. You get to really see the dogs work. More tracks, just a little bit too old. There's always tomorrow. Keep after it, hunt hard, sooner or later it'll pay off. When you come out here to hunt lions, you might get a lion caught on a rocky ledge or in a tree, and sometimes even in a cave. But there's one thing that's always certain. The lions won't fool these dogs very often, and watching them work was the highlight of the entire hunt.
After 2 days of cruising roads and creek beds, guide Luke Gale called in with some good news. He had found the track up a canyon in a dry creek bed.
That's a big lion track. That's what we're looking for. That's the big one. They've been after him for a while. These guys know how to track. Turns out this track is just a day too old to put dogs on it. Now what the plan is, there's another old road over a couple miles. There's a ridge that runs up the middle. We're gonna run around and cut that road for tracks. Well, Steve goes up the ridge. He's gonna try and cut it in half, see if we can't find this line. This is a huge cat. We want him to be the cat of the year, so we're gonna go all out for him today. 2 days left in the hunt, we're all in.
This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures was sponsored by the new Corbon T DPX ammunition.
I'm Chuck Mawiney,
And I'm Ed Eaton,
and you're watching Steve's Outdoor Adventures.
seen exclusively on the Outdoor Channel.
This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures is brought to you by Steiner and the new Predator Extreme Binoculars. This week, Steve is using his .50 caliber CVA Acura V2 muzzleloader, topped with a Burst Fast-Fire sight, and loaded with 150 grains of IMR White Hots powder, pushing a 250 grain Powerbelt Aerolite bullet, more than enough gun for even the biggest mountain lions.
For 3 days in the middle of this hunt, we had difficulty locating Catzilla's fresh track. We looked hard, we looked in every canyon, and on the 4th day, we found his track crossing a wash. Now, fortunately, it was 2 days old, but it told Steve and Luke where this cat was at, what his pattern was going to be like, and we had a plan for the next morning.
Oh, I see it right there, yeah.
He jumps across the road, hit with 1 foot, his hind feet hit there. You can see where his claws are out, and up the bank he went, and boom.
That's a huge track. That is Catzilla. Get
Big lion.
See him right here. Look at that. That's our big tom right there. That's the monster we're looking for. And it's fresh. It's on top of yesterday's track. He's gonna bring a dog up. See what we can make happen.
After cutting the tracks, it was clear that the lion was hunting elk. He came down in the valley, worked his way through the canyon, and you could tell he was hunting. It left a lot of tracks back and forth, in and out, tough to figure out for the dogs. A little bit of persistence and drive, and the dogs unraveled all the tracks, and eventually we got the lion jumped and brought him to bay.
Steve Biggerstaff is one of America's elite houndsmen. He guides lion hunts 7 months out of every year. He trains hounds the other 5 months out of the year. On average, it takes 5 to 6 years for a hound to be considered a finished dog. But because Steve hunts and trains his dogs year-round, they get more action and experience in 2 to 3 years than most dogs get in a lifetime. And this is why he's considered one of the best lion guides in the world today.
These dogs are my life. I raise them, we sell dogs, I hunt them every day. It's not a hobby for me. We hunt lions 7 months out of the year and train dogs the rest of the year.
Race is on now. We've got dogs cold trailing back here. We've got dogs in the trees off the point. The rest of the pack's up in the timber on the cat. It's a good trail. The cat actually came off that side, probably chased some elk, tried to ambush them, didn't get one because we haven't found a kill site. Ran up this side about halfway. Dogs lost it up there, turned around, we picked up the track coming back down, went across the valley bottom and back up into that draw. So Steve thinks he's laid up over there in the rocks on the south side, and I think the dogs are telling him he's correct. We're gonna hang here until we know what side of the canyon they're on, and we're gonna take a chase. Come again, what's that, Steve?
We got split races going, we got dogs going both ways, we got 2 cats jumped.
That explains what I'm hearing then. Okay. Well, we're at the bottom of this first draw right here below a big rocky outcropping, so we're just gonna kind of stay parallel the dogs below.
10-4, we got the tongue going up out over the top and the female shooting straight up the bottom. Dogs on both.
Roger that.
We gotta get up above this. I'm listening to the echo, but I think I can hear him every once in a while. I'll get up on top of this deal and I'll be able to pinpoint it.
Doesn't matter the race journey. Doesn't see it back to the trip maybe. You're gonna have to get a little higher to the area.
Steve is in great condition. He's running around up on that canyon wall with his dogs, and he's capturing all the action with his little high-definition video camera. It ended up being some of the best video of the entire trip.
Closed captioning sponsored by Kershaw, the official knife sponsor of Steve's Outdoor Adventures. Steve's Outdoor Adventures is sponsored by Burris Optics, Stormcloth 2, Performance Thermal Outerwear, the new Corbon T DPX ammunition, the new Bresser 360 trail camera, Kershaw knives, CDA muzzle loaders, it's just a better gun, and UDAP Bear pepper spray.
If you'd like to book this hunt for yourself, give my office a call. The toll-free number and website address are listed at the bottom of the screen, and I'm always available to take your calls and answer your questions and personally help you book the hunting or fishing trip of a lifetime.
When I finally got up there and got with Steve and Luke, moved into position to take the shot, I realized just how big this mountain lion really was.
It was a beautiful scene. The dogs had him in the rim rocks, and then they brought him to bay ultimately in a big dead tree. Real great, lots of opportunity for a nice clean shot.
He was huge, and he was in the top of a big dead tree. We slipped into position, and the rest is history.
Yeah! Number 7 on the quest for 29.
Without a doubt, this is the Tom we've been trailing for 5 days.
Catzilla. This is Catzilla. Look at that. That's what it's all about right here. Monster Tom lion, eastern Utah. We were on this cat 5 days ago. Had his track, ran out of daylight. Otherwise, I'm sure Steve and the dogs would have caught him. Came back the next 3 days and just couldn't find his track. He was up in this wilderness country. Made a mistake yesterday, though. We found his track in the bottom of a wash not too far from here. Didn't have enough daylight to really work it. But sure enough, we came back in this morning, split up, hit some different canyons. Lucas called us on the radio and said, Catzilla's up here. Better bring the dogs. Moved in here, turned the dogs loose. They blew up.
There was so much cat sign down there. The dogs worked at one direction, but they were smart, because this hunt is a lot more than just treeing a cat and shooting it. These dogs have to be smart, well trained. I mean, this is about the dogs and the people who train them and the whole experience. You can't appreciate this experience unless you've been here and done this. As you can see, we've had a wonderful hunting experience here for the past week in eastern Utah with Steve Biggerstaff. I mean, we took a lion for the ages, and it was just a treat to watch these awesome dogs work on the dry ground. I wish this was a hunt that everybody could experience. In fact, if this is a trip that you'd like to book for yourself, give me a call at the office. I'll personally take your calls, answer your questions, and help you book the hunting trip of a lifetime. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this week's show. Well, please remember to join us again next week when we bring you another exciting episode of Steve's Outdoor Adventures.
This was the 7th animal in Steve's quest to complete a super slam of North America with a muzzleloader. And as he heads home, he takes with him fond memories of the dogs, the guides, and the pursuit of the lion dreams are made of.
Or you're jumping in the buggies and cruising up the canyon walls, letting the dogs, letting the dog go is what I was thinking, just let the dog go.